everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm Beebs Kelley. It's a pleasure to have you here. Today we are talking the rival princes. There are so many huge differences between Prince William and Prince Harry. There always have been, obviously, and it goes beyond appearance. It also has to do with general character, the way they conduct themselves, the way they talk, all of those sorts of things, their mannerisms, but also just their general body language is so stark in difference to one another that I thought it was due time to make a video about it. Today we're going to break down the top 5 biggest differences between William and Harry and why they matter. All of these differences combined make it painfully clear who the alpha male in the family really is. Now, that's not to say that Harry is lesser than on account of some of these items that he cannot control. However, things like his character and the way he conducts himself are things that he can control, like his behavior, his language, and the choices that he makes can be controlled. They can make him seem a little bit more alpha, a little bit less beta. And you know what? That matters. When you have a PR-facing life or job or career, which he is hinging his career and money-making endeavors on his public image, then it really matters. Now, for most guys in their day-to-day, there is a lot to offer no matter how alpha you may or may not be. So this video is not passing judgment on any men in any which way. However, there are certain things that make you come off as much more alpha, if you were. I'm using that as a real blanket term for high value type of guy. And that is what women are drawn to, but it's also what the public tend to respect more. There is no question that Prince William commands a lot more respect than his younger brother, and it's not to do with the fact that he is the heir to the throne or the firstborn, or that he's the Prince of Wales. It's not about that. So let's kick it off with number 5, which is etiquette. In general, the way Prince William conducts himself is a lot more respectful, and he maintains a lot more etiquette rules throughout his general mannerisms and his dealings with people, which does look respectful to others, which automatically makes people ready to respect him in return. These types of things that go beyond just good manners and into that territory of mutual respect. If you're conducting yourself in a way that is worthy of people's respect, they will return it. And that is how he behaves. This is really important, not just in one-on-one interpersonal communication with those that he is in person with. It's also important and valuable in what people see, because we pick up on these cues when we're shown videos or pictures of him. We pick up on those cues right away. Things like clasping his hands or keeping his hands in this type of a position are actually showing a sense of control and prevent these sorts of awkward moments like we have with Harry, where he doesn't know what to do with his hands. I can be the same way at times. If I start to get flustered or nervous or I'm distracted, then I don't know what to do with my hands, and I'll find something to fidget with or mess with. Or I often keep a little poppet or a poppet keychain. I'll start going ham with that because I don't know what to do with my hands when I'm not on my game. I know what I should be doing with my hands, but sometimes I'm not thinking about it. Or like I said, if I get flustered or nervous or anxious, then I'm really not thinking about it and I get very fidgety. In these types of situations, I can imagine Prince William, Princess Catherine, Prince Harry, all of these people sometimes get that sort of anxious, fidgeting desire or feel a little bit nervous or distracted, of course, and will try to fidget with things as a self-soothing gesture. Harry's chronic jacket buttoning and a hiding of his fingers behind his button is a comforting gesture that is rooted in trying to calm himself down through that sort of fidgeting and repositioning of his clothing. But it's poor etiquette and it doesn't photograph well. It sends wrong signals. It sends signals of being fidgety or nervous or of being less confident and certainly less in control. So when you show these sorts of signs that Prince William does, you look in control, and that's not just attractive, but it's also a sign of confidence, and it's something people will automatically respect. Number 4 on the list has to do with speech. When we listen to Prince Harry speak, lately especially, a lot of the times about himself or anchored back to himself. Now, while it's really good to find a way to give personal connection to your speeches and to relate it to yourself somehow so that you have a purpose of being there and delivering the speech and it can be relatable to others at times, we see Harry going beyond that and into territory of where it's not related to the event or the moment, or it doesn't really fully make sense, or he just goes overboard and beyond with it. I think he probably did a little bit better of a job this year at Invictus, but he still made veiled digs at his family. And at this point, he and Meghan both need to be really careful that anything they say or do cannot be misconstrued as coming after the royal family, because they claim that that ship has sailed and it's done and they're never going to speak about it again, but then they keep doing things that people can interpret that way, and they just need to be sure that literally zero of what they do or say can be interpreted that way. Even if that interpretation is wrong, it matters not. You have to, at this point, you're in crisis mode if you're in the Harry and Meghan PR camp. You have to make sure nothing can be turned around or twisted into that sort of a nature at all. And they're not doing that right now. Also, we've heard sometimes Harry make speech blunders, and not just like when giving a speech, but when speaking to someone. He says things that are maybe a little bit awkward or a little bit oversharing. And this again comes down to confidence and control. When you say things that you shouldn't, or you say a little bit too much, or you fumble over your words or get a little awkward in what you say, you're probably saying a little bit too much, or you've got a little bit of that anxiousness within you where you're just kind of spitting out the first thing that comes to mind. And that, again, indicates a lack of self-control and a lack of confidence. So it's yet another thing that's making Harry appear a lot more B-team, for lack of a better phrase. Number 3 on the list is at least appearing like you're comfortable in your surroundings and in your setting and in your role. Prince William seems quite confident in himself and quite comfortable in his position. Not just like his position as future king, but I'm talking about in his position in life. He seems mature, which is part of being comfortable with yourself. You mature at a graceful pace, and you seem your age when you're speaking to people. You don't seem immature the way we see with Harry. He seems and sounds immature a lot of the time. And if you were to read about his behaviors or things that he says and the dynamics that he has with people, you'd probably be surprised at his age if you didn't know it. William also seems comfortable in various settings. When he's talking to people, he has an ease about him, and he's always spending a lot more time interested in hearing from them, which again is a great rule of etiquette to get people to like you, but it also takes a little pressure off yourself because you're like interested in hearing from others and you get them talking about themselves, and then there's less room for questions about you and less opportunity for you to say something that later seems awkward. I personally deal with this sometimes after a social encounter, even if I did things right and did a good job and I'm like, hey, that went pretty well. After the fact, I overanalyze it to bits, and I still have to work on that, but it's something that you definitely see with Prince Harry, that sometimes he actually does say a little bit too much or say something weird. I mean, who can forget even basic blunders of saying that Archie was 2 weeks old when he was supposedly only 2 days old? These types of moments when the pressure is on, you've got to get a game face and not make those types of mistakes. So see Prince William being very comfortable in other areas of his life. He's clearly very comfortable as a father and has formed a great bond with his children. He's comfortable with his family members. He's comfortable as a husband and confident in that. You don't see him needing to cling on to Catherine every time they're in public, or perhaps it's the other way around and she's clinging on to him. Either way, that indicates a good level of confidence and comfortability in his role as husband. It's in stark contrast to what we see with Harry and Meghan. Coming in number 2 on the list is the clothing and the outfit choices. Presentation. Prince William does a great job of presenting himself well, while Harry tends to have some issues in that department. We see William dressed for the occasion, whether that's a situation where he needs to be dressed to the nines in formal wear or something more casual to go to an outdoorsy type of event. He's always dressed in something that is practical, makes sense, and fits in with both the weather, the occasion, even the surroundings at play. This is extremely valuable for a lot of reasons. When you are dressed appropriately, you're not going to stick out for the wrong reasons. I say it all the time. And it shows respect for whatever occasion or environment you're in, and it's just a normalizing factor. But we also see Prince William always making sure to be in pressed clothes. He doesn't have wrinkles or like weird issues happening with his shirt not tucked in properly. These types of things are just not an issue with Prince William, so he certainly takes time, even if he has a dresser, to make sure that his clothes are laying nicely and that he looks nice in general and ready to go for the event. Harry, on the other hand, does things like this, where his like pockets are turned out and he's got this little boy vibe where he's just not capable of presenting himself properly. It makes no sense. Now, he doesn't always have these types of issues, but he does have them a lot more than William does. So it definitely plays into his likability factor as well as his just general respect factor. Number 1 on the list is all about attention. Prince William doesn't seem to be starved for attention ever. Now, of course, you might assume that's normal for somebody who seems to get a lot of attention as the future king. But the actions of Prince Harry are clearly attention thirsty. Things like this catastrophic car chase in New York City that was completely fabricated comes into stark contrast to William taking a jog in Central Park with nobody noticing in a good way. Sometimes when you're a high-profile person, exactly what you need and want is to go unnoticed in an area, to be able to just blend in and people watch rather than have people constantly coming to see you and see what you have to say. It's probably really refreshing and healthy for his mental health to be able to do something like that, to be able to go and feel normal in his environment and take a jog like a normal person, like a regular tourist. The press that Prince William has gotten in New York has been so amazing, and there is no secret as to why. It's because of these top 5 things, but it's also because of a plethora of other things. But Prince William is never needing to make a big deal out of nothing. He's never doing a mountain out of molehill. He's literally never complaining. He doesn't even snap back in the media when he has every right to, and his brother's lying about stuff left and right. So he's clearly very confident and doesn't need all this outside validation to feel good, fulfilled, or normal, which is what Harry seems to need. He seems to really seek that validation and approval. Perhaps there's part of him that still just really wants people to tell him he's good. But that takes doing good and being good. And it takes not trying to get the attention, but rather showing people why you may deserve attention. To me, Prince William has always come across as much more attractive as a human being than Harry, and it's largely due to the non-physical attributes. But I mean, it doesn't hurt that he is a cool 6'3" and very fit. The way that Prince William behaves and conducts himself and presents himself to the world is what truly shows that he's not only more confident and by proxy more alpha, shows that he's secure, confident, but not arrogant. He's clearly got good character and would be a nice human being in real life. That is what he conveys through all of these things. He has shown himself to be a good person and enhances his public image and just accentuates the good parts of his personality, which demonstrates control and confidence, which translates to a true alpha or high-value man. Not the arrogant, rude caricature or archetype of an alpha male, but rather what an alpha male really is. The kind who commands respect the second he enters a room, but leaves the room with everybody feeling like he genuinely cares about them, leaves the room charmed, and actually follows through with good behavior and good actions afterwards. So leave in the comments what you thought of today's video, and if you'd like a part 2, taking a little bit closer look analyzing the differences between Harry and William. I will see you in the next video. Have a happy day, everybody.